Welcome, everybody. You know what day it is. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces in here. We'll get started in a few minutes. Just waiting on Mr. Dotta. Welcome, everybody. Bear Snake, I'm going to let you up. Add as a speaker. What's up, Bear Snake?
What's up, Free?
There's Dotta. Let me invite him up. Okay. We got Magus Wazir, the one who rings. We got Dr. Slurp. We got Edward. We got Chuck K. We got Wiz Ramiz. We got Zayla Soul. What's up, guys? Dotta, are you all right? Dota's connected.
Hey, if anybody wants to hop on stage, feel free to raise your hand.
Yep. Always want to hear you guys' questions, comments.
Where's Loch Ness? Loch Ness here?
I'm sure she'll show up soon. I see Crypto Kel, Tiki Techie. I see Paul. Welcome, everybody. Glad you guys are showing up. It's going to be a big show today. Lots of exciting news. Dota's tapping away on his mechanical keyboard.
I got the clackiest one. People pay big money for that sound, by the way. Yeah, there's all these different switches, like cherry or
it seems to be only like the hackers who appreciate those keyboards.
Oh, it's like yeah.
Loch Ness requested. All right.
Subtleties.
Welcome, Loch Ness. Good to see you.
Hi, Loch Ness.
Hello, fellow wizards.
Hello. All right, we'll wait one more minute. We'll start at 2. Let people file in. Good to see everybody. It's an exciting day. One more minute.
No music this week?
No, but I do have one cheesy ass sound effect that I'm going to play at an opportune moment.
One of the things I realized actually is like if we put this on YouTube and you use music, they might complain. We might have to get royalty
right.
free.
Well, that's why I only play it at the beginning because we usually cut out these beginnings where we're just sort of improv. Okay, Magus Devon, I just invited you up. Welcome.
Hi.
I see the Void Disciple in here. I see. Oh, okay. It's 2:00. You ready to get started, Dotta?
I'm ready.
All right, everybody. It's Wednesday, October 13th, the year of our Lord 2021, and it's time for our cult meeting, aka Wizard Frickin Wednesday. This is Elf
and Dotta
channeling in from the Quantum Downs. Okay, that was my cheesy sound effect.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Okay, a certain mighty crypto juggernaut has seen the cult and has given the nod to the almighty incantation, "We like the wizards." The cult has rejoiced. New wizard apprentices have joined the fray, and the oracles at Dune Analytics have shown us that the exclamation point floor has hit an all-time high. Dotta, what can you say about this mighty crypto juggernaut Coinbase?
Ooh, we are super excited to be a featured creator for Coinbase. I really want to give a shout out actually to the Coinbase employees who are also wizards. They've decided to remain anonymous, and that's fine. We'll let them do it. But yeah, there is at least one, probably more. In fact, I know there's more than one Coinbase employees who are also wizards, and so yeah, I want to give a shout out to them anonymously for reaching out and. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about Coinbase. I know that there's, maybe a little bit of skepticism that people have because they're like, "Oh, how's Coinbase going to do it?" Maybe we can get into that a little bit. But
I just want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Dotta and Bear Snake. They've been mostly handling this Coinbase deal. I've been like CC'd on the emails, but I haven't really done much. It's mostly been Dota and Bear Snake. So, and yeah, from what I can tell, the Coinbase team is awesome.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. So we can't speak at all to kind of their plans, the implementation, how it'll work, like how it all goes down, the whitelisting, any of this. Like, we don't really actually have any sort of privileged information, and there's not really a lot we could say, even if we did. But what I can tell you is that, like, abstractly, well, concretely, I can tell you the people that we've talked to there, that we've interacted with, are just fantastic. They really get NFTs, they get crypto, they get like what we're trying to do, and I'm like very optimistic. I think that like, so OpenSea is like, obviously, like, credit where credit where is due. OpenSea has really like built this industry and has done a good job, but on the other hand, it's good that they're getting some competition. We saw this with our community, especially the last 2 weeks with the glitch wizards, right? So we talked about this last Wizard Wednesday. The glitch wizards are these, like, it's not the wizard's problem. It's these orders that a lot of other projects are seeing where, it'll pin the order to the floor for weeks at a time. It affected us for like 10 days straight. The floor was pinned to like somewhere around like 0.42. And so, not that there's no outside forces, but all that to say is that, like, having an OpenSea competitor is going to be so, like, good for the space in general.
Yep.
The other
Yeah, well, I was just going to quickly say, the most exciting thing about this to me is, so like all of the whole Wizard secondary market is going to be available on Coinbase, from what I can tell, and Coinbase has a customer base of 60 million people.
68 to be exact.
68 million people. That's 68 new million people that are going to be exposed to the wizards. Compare that to like OpenSea, which is great, but I think OpenSea only has like what, like 200,000, 100,000.
So yeah, there's probably 500. It would be like a generous interpretation of OpenSea. And also, I would also like to clarify that you said, oh, the Wizards will be on Coinbase. We can't make really any specific claims about what Coinbase will or won't do. We're like, we actually don't know, and I want to hedge that a little bit. But yeah,
Sure.
Presumably, like, we can presume that, like, for example, if they're putting us on the homepage, and presumably if they're starting an NFT platform, that seems like very likely. Though, that's speculation.
Right.
Yeah, and
Just
in general. Oh, so go ahead, keep going.
Oh, but what's great in general, yeah, is exactly that. Is that they have such, again, this is speculation. Some people have said, well, are you going to have to KYC? And I saw this going around tweets, which is like, some people were saying, there's a tweet of a journalist, I can look it up, where he said, no, Coinbase said you won't have to KYC for their initial launch. And that's great. That means, like, you'll be able to use, presumably, like, MetaMask if you want to be do it in a decentralized way. But in the case that, let's say that they did require KYC down the road, the great benefit of that is that, like, when you KYC on Coinbase to buy regular tokens, like, you can essentially use your credit card to buy Bitcoin. And so you can only assume that that might be in the works for Coinbase, and that's like a massive, massive number of people going to be coming into the space. So it's just so exciting.
Yeah, and just to like underline that, I think there's definitely more sort of details and fun stuff that we'll be able to talk about in the coming weeks. And so, obviously we're so excited to be sort of involved in the family over there in a number of different ways. So there's definitely more information. So I know people will have questions. We'll have some answers today, some answers we won't have today, but they are forthcoming, and definitely feel like, and maybe I'm a bit biased, but feel like they care about community. They also care about a lot of other things, but I think having them hug us in, I think we feel really good about it, and it feels like they really are touching and caring on all the things that are going to make this thing, successful.
Yep.
There's a bunch of speakers who came up. Does anybody have any, like, I don't know, comments or questions? I mean, we can't answer questions about Coinbase, but, happy to talk. So a hand came up here, saw me, myself, and I. Hello.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Hello.
Hey, I'm great. How are you doing?
Wizard Gang, I love it. I love the project. I've been in, since the beginning, and I think you may be aware. And Yeah, appreciate it. The Coinbase, no question. I think that this is good for the space for all the reasons that you just said. And congratulations for being on the, whatever that was exactly, like a teaser
Yeah.
kind of homepage. Because look, that means that the project was catchy to whoever was preparing that, and I think that's going to be the same when 60 million people are exposed. Is the people like the Wizards? What's not to like? Um, I have a question. I know there was a lot of work that went into preparing like the rotating 3D wizard heads.
Yeah.
And I was actually kind of thinking that was going to be an NFT, and I guess you have to download this and kind of put it together, and then there's like the full walk cycle. So can you just talk a little bit more about that? And because I haven't done,
Yeah.
I haven't done anything to down. I have, I don't know, 10 wizards, so I haven't downloaded that stuff for all the wizards. It takes a little time, so I just before I do that, I want to make sure I understand what's going on. If you don't mind addressing that.
Yeah, happy to talk about this. So, okay, so the way that we think about like Forgotten Runes wizards is like there's the wizard NFT, which sort of like makes you the owner, and even really you get to like be the wizard character. We've talked about this that when you own sort of your wizard NFT, you have like rights to that character. And in all, there's a lot of different derivative arts that come from that. And so, when we talk about kind of the on-chain like provenance of the wizards, really the name, the traits, and the pixels are all on chain for that kind of original, like let's call it the 3/4 view 50 by 50 NFT. On top of that, like because Forgotten Runes is so character driven, that you want kind of a representation. Like think of the NFT as like the soul of your character, and there are these other representations that you can get access to when you sort of are the owner of that soul. And so the turnarounds and the walk cycles are part of that. So like for example, maybe you and I were chatting to get today in the Discord, which is like the turnarounds and the walk cycles. They're not actually stored on chain like the original kind of NFT image is yet. Maybe we add them, but they're really just one representation of your wizard. And so saying like, we thought about making the walk cycles their own NFT, but then we realized, oh, well, what does that mean if you like separate the walk cycle from the actual like wizard? Like that doesn't make any sense at all. And so you can kind of think of like the NFT will give you the right to present using those walk cycles in various metaverses. So we've been talking to a couple, we're working on our own. And the idea is like right now we're making those assets available for people who just want to play around. But like as we kind of ship in these other metaverses, you won't have to download anything. You'll just like connect your wallet, pick your wizard, and now you can like walk around as your wizard. This is just an intermediate step, like to that process.
Yeah, and I told Dota I wouldn't say this today, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm hoping that we're planning on dropping NFTs that will be associated with your wizard. They would be determined by okay, I'm not supposed to say too much. Just write your wizard in the book of lore, and yeah, we
Yeah, the
introduced a
lore is the hub for this community. Yeah.
yeah, there's a concept called proof of lore. I think Magus Wazir termed that, but we love it, and it's a legit feature, I guess, of this whole project, proof of lore. Basically, put your wizard in the book of lore, and you get whitelisted for extra goodies. Let's just put it that way. And we've already done it, like the sacred flame. Like the first 100 entries in the book of lore got a sacred flame. We intend to keep that practice alive.
Okay, I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Does that answer? Yeah.
It does, and to be honest, like I buy and sell NFTs and try to profit doing that occasionally. But this particular project, I just like the wizards so much, and I liked from day one the way they were minted and just the mystery and just all this stuff that like I honestly don't care about the valuation or anything. Like, I just think it's cool, and I'm like along for the ride. And I think people who are more artistic and creative than myself are leading that, and I'm just like with it, you know. So as for the rest, definitely I'm gonna get to like getting into the book of lore and transcribing some lore in there and all this to participate and contribute. And I'm fired up on this flame, you know, no pun intended. But so if you
Yeah.
could, yeah, if you could just explain a little bit. I don't know. I know it's kind of, I guess,
Oh
keeping
yeah.
it kind of mysterious. But if you guys want to talk a little bit more about that, is this the right time or?
Yeah,
Well,
for sure. I think we can do it.
let's
You?
tie. You touched on a lot of things that I want to touch on later in this thing, but let's wrap up the Coinbase talk first, because I think we might have some questions about Coinbase, or should we
Okay,
just
and we can
bounce
talk.
all
But yeah,
around?
let's talk. Let's for sure talk flames at
Yeah,
some point soon.
yeah, yeah.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Just want to say, yeah, it's more of a comment than a question. I stumbled upon you guys maybe about a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to say you're doing an amazing job. I've fallen in love with this sort of Wizard Wednesday and being able to have your own wizard on the NFT market and touching upon Coinbase. I heavily use Coinbase. I'm not so much on the OpenSea market, but I'm so thrilled that you'll hopefully, fingers crossed, be able to go onto that sort of platform. And as you said, it will be a huge bolster for you guys. And I support you through and through all the way. And I can't wait to be able to get my hands on my own little wizard.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, glad to have your
Welcome,
part.
man.
No, I
We lo-
appreciate you guys. You've been doing such a great thing in this space. And, you know, for the time that I've been involved with you guys, I think it's such a loving, great community. And there's so many wholesome ideas to be able to progress, to be able to I think, you know, do something amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, one thing Hammer just said about, like, you like to trade NFTs, but with Wizards, you just love to hold it and really dive into the cult. And another coin that I think Magus was your termed is lore, not floor. And
Yeah.
and and like I think the beauty of that is we've got all these cult members who are very passionate and creative, and they're writing lore and they're making artwork, and like just their own actions are bringing up the popularity of the entire project. So even if you don't want to write lore and make art, everybody else who is like just bringing up every wizard with them. A rising tide lifts all boats, basically.
Well, and I think that it speaks to what we're trying to do here, which is around this idea of like building a world that is like stories that get created and shared for 100 years, right? We're in the tradition of Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. We're in the tradition of Harry Potter series, where it's this idea that you have these characters that you can like learn about and tell stories about, and that there will be games and shows and comic books and novels written. But what's different here is it's a universe of characters owned by all of us, that like even our kids will know about Forgotten Runes, but it'll be through just like this wide spread of lore and art and stories, but that can be built on as the years go by. So I really truly think we're part of something special, and I'm really excited to be building all of it with you.
Yep.
Me too, man. I can't wait. It's going to be so cool.
Thank you so much. Any other Coinbase questions or anything? Zayla, so what's up, man?
Hey, all right. So this is my first NFT project, and I don't know. I've never been a part of a project where I see. It seems like Coinbase will be like an entry point for like whales and whatnot. So, what do you think will happen to the project and community once like whales start to accumulate?
Oh, I think that it's going to also be equally an entry point for people who, for people who don't know how to buy NFTs.
Right.
Like Coinbase is sort of the first place that I send people to like buy Bitcoin or that to buy Ethereum, and I mean
Yep.
it's even what I use to onboard and offboard. And so, I don't, it's not that like there won't be big holders, but I'll tell you what, I feel like if you look at kind of the people who we have that are big holders now, they're like friend not foe, I suppose. Like you look, we have like Matt and Jiro, and well, I should be able to rattle them off more quickly. But like you can look at the top holders list. We don't need to go through them, but and what you realize is actually these, Dom holds 100 wizards, and there's like they're the people that hold over 100 wizards. It's not really so much because they're looking to flip. Like you look at the top holder, like he didn't sell any of his wizards in this like last like the floor doubled, and he's like still holding the same number, and it's I don't think that it's because like it's not purely financial. I think that our biggest holders are also like in some sense of like significant. Well, they're in every sense like significant kind of like contributors to the community in their own way, and almost all of them like wizards specifically rather than kind of just flipping it for a financial product. So I'm not so worried about it. Like if a whale sort of like came in, someone who came in and said, "Oh, I want to buy 100 wizards," I think we've kind of outgrown where someone would come in and buy up like 1,000 wizards. Maybe I'm
I
naive about that, but
I think of Coinbase actually as like the beginner's entry
yeah,
point into crypto. That's
that's
where
what I
I
think too.
started.
Yeah.
Coinbase is like the most user-friendly crypto exchange. They even have that education program where they teach people about tokens, and maybe they'll teach people about NFTs. I'm sure they will. So yeah, I see it as an entry point for like beginners who would just buy like one or two wizards.
Yeah,
I
I feel
also
like we're well beyond that point of like an IPO where they can just come in and buy up the whole community, basically. So it is a little more comfortable that we're further into the project.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it also speaks to like what like the things that come, right? Like the other, we've talked about warriors in the past. Like I think what it does is it sets us up to grow in a more organic way. And I agree with Dota and Elf. I actually think it's the reverse. I think it's anyone who felt like they couldn't even figure out how to buy an NFT, or it was just too confusing. Like all of a sudden the interface just feels like it's more palatable, and I think I'd rather have more people in buying NFTs in general, like just outside of Wizards, than have have crazy high prices. I want more people being touched by NFTs and digital assets.
Yeah, if Coinbase has custodial NFTs,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, I think that there's like kind of a question around like decentralization there that's like interesting. I think that Coinbase is going to let people like take their custodial NFTs and put them into their like self custody, like you can already do with your tokens. So under that kind of assumption, um, custodial NFTs actually is like incredibly convenient. And so like that's a web app that sort of feels natural to kind of people who haven't really used crypto. It's a lot of steps to buy something on OpenSea, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's really my hope is it's less about like, oh, there's going to be big whales who buy everything up and then like forego the community, and more about like, actually there's a lot of people who are not as technical yet, but like would still be valuable, like people in our community who will be able to buy and get their first NFT. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say that we got to be honest about the fact that this combination of like MetaMask and OpenSea like leaves a lot to be desired. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people got ripped off because of, I feel like, things that MetaMask could have done better to protect people. And then OpenSea, they're still like, for the amount of transactions they're doing, they're way understaffed, and I don't know if their support is. I have right now an NFT that's stuck, like it's a sandbox land that on chain the transaction is completed, but
Yikes.
it's like there's no support like getting back to me, because I even hit up Sandbox and they like helped me, and they were like, no, this is a OpenSea issue. So it's like, on chain it's taken place, in OpenSea it's stuck, and I can understand it taking a week or so, but like, come on. So
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. So I think this is going to be disrupted. I think Coinbase may or may not be ultimately, the go-to platform, but certainly is going to onboard a lot of people. But in the meantime, I think that probably the way we're trading NFTs now is going to be a lot different a year from now.
I think
Yeah, it's
I
not
think
that.
yeah. I think you're totally right. I think a lot of us have probably spent a lot of time on sort of budding technology platforms. And I remember when VR first came out, and I know this is very different, but the solutions tend to find themselves when there's that much friction. And I think we all agree there's a lot of friction in the current process.
So,
Yep.
so Coinbase is basically Gandalf swooping in to save Rohan.
Well
Yeah,
played.
it's not that they won't be without bumps with Coinbase, right? I mean, they're the only public company in crypto, and so it's like, I think they're going to do a good job. Though, of course, they're going to do it at a really big scale, and so it'll still be a certain way. But I think on the whole, it's really good for our industry.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everybody likes to be early, but they don't like to feel early. It takes a while for things to build, and I think right now we're still very much in our infancy. It's hard to use this stuff, and that's going to warrant in a new era for people to come in.
Yep.
For sure. Yep.
And I would
Let's move on.
I would just add before we move on that, there's a lot of projects right now that are using some, I don't know, borderline or gray area tokenomics that are very attractive in the marketplace, and it drives sales. But Coinbase is not going to list stuff that is, too much in the gray area. So they have that process. So if you remember, like with crypto, it was like this big speculation game of like, who's going to get listed next, and it drove like a lot of the market activity. And so I think this is going to happen with NFTs. Who's going to be listed on Coinbase is going to be a topic of discussion and speculation. And I think the projects that are running clean program that are about the NFT, are about the art, are about the story, and are less about creating borderline securities and this kind of stuff are more likely to be listed, and those other ones are less likely.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure. Cool, guys. Well, Hammer, you had also asked about the flames. Dota, do you want to just give some details about the flames?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I just want to close the Coinbase conversation just saying, like, I'm super excited about it. The people we've talked there are really good. Like, social media can be kind of hard on a big company, especially on like individuals who are good within a big company. And so, yeah, the team there has been excellent, and in particular, kind of the folks who are wizards, who also have kind of like been a part of the conversation, have just been like really good. So I guess I would just say it's like I'm very, very optimistic about it. So okay, let's talk about the flames.
Wait,
So,
I think O wanted to say something. O, did you have something?
Please, yes, hello.
No, I think it's past.
Okay.
All right. Sure.
All right.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk the flames. So so the at a high level, the Sacred Flame is an NFT that was airdropped to the 1,000 longest holders and the 100 first people to write in the Book of Lore. The exact numbers are a little bit different than that, but basically. And what you can do with the flame is you can pair it with a wizard, and if you so choose, you on All Hallows Eve, you'll be able to burn both the token and burn a wizard for a chance at a forgotten soul. Now, of course, burning a wizard is dark magic, and so there's always going to be a risk involved. And in fact, we've quantified those risks. Your risk of getting an undesirable outcome is about 1 in 10. So about 9 in 10 will receive a forgotten soul, which is sort of let's say, a transmutation of your wizard into something that might be the same, weakened, or maybe even a lot more powerful. And whereas the undesirables, you may risk burning your wizard and be left with nearly nothing. Not precisely nothing. Everyone who burns a wizard will get an NFT in return, but whether or not you find it desirable, that is left up to chance. So that's kind of the high level of the Forgotten Souls Flames.
Yeah, two things I would add to that is even though the burning starts on Halloween, there is no end to the burning, so you can burn a month later if you have a flame. And then also, we do use the term undesirable. It's this 1 in 10 thing. The interesting thing about the undesirables, though, is it's actually a more rare outcome. So I have no idea what you guys are actually going to prefer in the end. But that's the way we're describing it at this point.
Sounds like everybody's a winner.
I think so.
Unless you get an undesirable.
Well, I mean, someone might like that, you know. I think I will.
Yeah.
I actually do. I predict that what some may perceive as undesirable, some others will definitely deem desirable.
Right. Yep. It's possible. Totally possible.
Hey, people want sea hams.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I'm pulling up Margaret and Shroomy to the stage. Or I don't know, Hammer, did that answer your question about the flames? That was like somewhat high level. If anybody has any questions about the flames, it's a good time. Happy to talk about it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, some folks are asking, saying burning time matters, right? And the answer is yes. The burning order does matter. I'm not going to give you any sort of priority on that, but you know, one of the questions people ask with regards to rarity is also very interesting to think about this mechanic. Let's talk a little bit more mechanics here on souls.
Sure.
So the burning order matters, you know, internally. In terms of your rarity outcome, it also depends on sort of what your fellow wizards decide to burn. Let's say, for example, you have, you know, a bell. How many bells are going to be in the Forgotten Souls collection? Well, I can't tell you, because there are 10,000 wizards and there are 1,112 flames. So maybe all of the bells will be gathered up and burned in some giant Magus Wazir burning festival. Or maybe only one person does. And so like you really can't know what the rarity entirely is going to be at the outset. I can't even tell you that, because it depends on the wizards who burn sort of both before you and after you. Another thing to think of is, of course, that that when you burn, both the flame is burned, so there's one fewer flame that exists in the market. The other flames are rarer, I suppose, and also the wizard is burned, so there are also fewer wizards as well. So, you know, you just sort of need to think through kind of how you feel about burning a wizard, how you think about what your fellow wizards will do, and that all plays into kind of the rarity of the system. Okay, so we've got Margaret who came up here. We've got Shroomy. We've got Enchanter Orbis. Hello, please. Happy to have you.
Welcome, guys. Questions, comments?
Yeah, I just had a question, a very important question regarding the background color. What happens to that with the burning?
Oh, that is a good question. And yeah, well, obviously we're not going to tell you, but when even the background, when it passes through a flame,
the background
changes.
passes through the flame.
Yeah, it gets, something happens. I'll just say that.
Okay, because you know I love the red background, so yeah, it'd be awesome to keep that red background.
It would, wouldn't it? It would.
Maybe it'll go through a spectrum.
You can get a fiery red background.
Yeah, you guys will see. You'll see. That's all we can say.
Yeah, you might want to wait and see. Let someone else burn first.
Magus Devin of the Quantum Downs, what's up?
Yes, just really briefly, I forgot, I think we touched on it the previous week, but the Forgotten Souls, will they be in the same collection on OpenSea as the Wizards, or will they be in a separate collection?
I think our plan is to be a separate collection. There'll be a different contract, and I think our plan is a separate collection. And you know,
gotcha.
Like presumably we'll link to them to our website, Discord, even on OpenSea. We'll try to cross-link them. Expect we'll get verified before too long. But yeah, the idea, you know, I think the idea is that sort of maybe the final number of wizards is going to be something like, you know, the 10,000 minus those that are burned, and then the souls will be their own collection.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Technically, I think OpenSea still lists burn address items, so the wizard count actually won't even
Yeah.
change on the OpenSea collection.
Oh, good. Well, we'll have to ask Coinbase how they deal with it.
Shroomy, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey.
Hey, good. How are you?
Well, thank you. I was just wondering if there'd be a future utility with the Sacred Flames if we didn't use them.
Dotta, you want to answer that question?
Oh, I'm dumb. So, okay. This is like, I'm probably going to need to write this down. So, this maybe comes from, it was like, I don't know, a Wednesday night or something, maybe earlier. Where was it? This was like on the like 5th or 6th. So, this is a week ago. We were talking in the Discord, and somebody was kind of like, we were just like sitting around talking. It was late, like 10 o'clock at night, and somebody was like asking, "Oh, what are the rarities? What are the chances? What are the like?" I just finished working on the Forgotten Souls and the Flames contract, so I'm like completely in coder mode. And somebody was like, "Oh, what are the odds that we're going to get it undesirable?" And then someone else was like, "Oh, well, I assume the probabilities will be baked into the contract, right? Like, we'll just be able to look at the code. We'll just read the code and see the odds of getting it undesirable when you're burning." And I'm just like, okay, like as if I would make that sort of rookie move, like I'm kind of being like I'm gonna just put the probabilities right in the contract for everyone to see. That's like so obviously something I'm not going to do. So I'm very much like thinking about this fact of like the odds and the use, and I just written the contract saying that like, I'm not going to put these obvious things in the code. And I'm saying like, oh, the rarity will depend on these other things. And people are like, yeah, there's a ton of factors at play, which makes it really fun. And then I come out with, the good news is that the flames will be good for burning more than just wizards. That's what I said. And then the Discord really responded quite bigly to that. And I thought, oh no, what did I just say? Because in my mind, I was making like a technical claim, which is the following, which is the Burning Souls contract. So one, the flames are a ERC 1155 token that are burnable, which means you can burn that token anytime you choose, and anybody can write a contract that can accept that token. It doesn't have to be me, it can be anybody. And also, when I'm writing the Forgotten Souls contract, I am coding it so that other projects could, in theory, accept a flame and return a Forgotten Soul. Now, we don't have any other specific plans. We haven't really talked about it. We don't have anything on the calendar. It might never, ever happen. But you will see when I deploy the code a public fact that the Forgotten Souls and the Flames could technically be used for something else. But that said, what happened that night was I was trying to make a technical claim, and what I did is I made like a lore and a mechanics claim, which was dumb. So I guess to answer your question is maybe technically possible, but we have no plans for any future utility besides Burning Souls. Anything to add to that, Elf?
I would say if you have a flame, use it to burn a wizard, because we have no plans to use it for anything else. If you just want to hold on to it because you think it's a neat relic to have, then just keep it for that reason, but don't keep it because you think we're going to use it for something else in the future. That's it. Margaret, what's up?
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Cool. I just wanted to make a comment that, in terms of lore, I'm really excited about what lore people are going to make about the flame and their wizards.
Yep.
Because, there could be wizards that voluntarily go to the flame. There could be wizards that are involuntarily thrown into the flame. There could be lore from the souls who were burned. And so I just wanted to put out a call. I'm very interested in writing poems around the sacred flame and the burn mechanic. So if anybody is interested in that, please bring your most creative ideas to me, because I just think all of these new mechanics, they're useful in terms of a deflationary aspect and, kind of a new gambling aspect to the project. But really, with a project like this, it's the lore that's going to make it interesting. And so, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to what people come up with.
Yes, I saw people in Discord say, I want to write some lore, but I don't have any good ideas on what to say or how to do it. I would say reach out to Margaret. She, there are several people, of course, who do commissions, which you can find on our commission page. But, first up, reach out to Margaret. She can help you develop the lore for your character. And the also something to know about the lore with the burning is a couple of things. Before you burn your wizard, you can write lore. So, for example, if you have a story of how your wizard was thrown in involuntarily, then you need to write that actually before you burn. Because after you burn your wizard, that wizard token is burned, which means you will no longer be able to write lore about that wizard. When you burn, the process of burning will automatically write an entry, an ending to your wizard story in the book of lore. And you will be able to write lore about your soul after they've been burned. But of course, if you have a pile of dust, what lore can be written about a pile of dust?
Did you just give away one of the undesirables?
I'm just saying in theory.
No, it's okay. But no, Margaret brings up an interesting question because we've got a storyboard that's gonna be coming out about the burning. It's going to serve as sort of like a preview of what the burning is about, and like one of the things I was thinking about when I was writing the soul story is like, okay, are the wizards voluntarily burning themselves, or are they being thrown onto the pyre? How's it going to work out? And I think ultimately in my story, I didn't really say one way or another because I think every wizard owner is going to have a different reason for burning their wizard. So it's an interesting question.
Go ahead.
I'll go. Yeah, that's really good to know that there's going to be some openness there. And it's good to clarify that it's not like everybody who's burning is in the lore point of view, walking to a specific place and jumping into a specific fire at a specific place. Like these flames, this could happen in somebody's bedroom. This could happen where somebody's walking on the road and gets overlaid by some highwaymen and chucked into the fire. So I'm really glad to see that those options are there. And I will take that on board.
Awesome.
Yeah, the way that I think of it is like kind of like somewhat of maybe like a ceremonial kind of thing, and then like wizards can either choose to do it themselves, or some of them maybe pushed into it by somebody who wants to see what the result is and such. So it's kind of up to your own wizard's interpretation, but kind of like these flames are in the world, and wizards can use them as they wish, knowing what the results could possibly be.
Yeah, I almost see them as a way of a will to power. I've been looking into like aesthetic practices in the past, and dude, there's some people that went to bizarre lengths to achieve that higher aspect of perception, and monks set themselves on fire in Tibet, dude. Like this kind of shit is known. Yeah, there's so much room for lore.
Yep, absolutely. Cool.
Speaking of lore, am I echoing?
Speaking of lore,
we can hear you. You're good.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we dropped a character sheet a little while ago. So if you're finding yourself having a little bit of challenge coming up with your character or your wizard, the character behind your wizard, I'm going to drop the link to the character sheet in the Secret Tower.
Yes,
It's a great guide.
Yeah, Loch-Ness, I forgot you did that. I'm going to put that in the blog post. This is a good segue. So first of all, if you don't know, Loch-Ness made this really cool. It sort of looks like a Dungeons and Dragons character sheet. And it's just like, it's great for people who don't know how to like start writing about their character. Like, you just fill out this sheet, and it'll be a good like template for you to use. So yeah, we'll definitely get that out there. That was Loch-Ness's idea. It's super cool. But yeah, it's a good segue to the next topic I wanted to touch on, which is we just gave our website a big revamp. Biggest reason being is like we knew this Coinbase news was coming down the pipe. We knew that we would get a lot of new people coming into the project, and so we wanted the website to look much more presentable than it was. We streamlined the information. We gave it a new coat of paint. We gave it a better font pairing. And Dotta and I both wrote a bunch of new blog posts. More blog posts to come. One of the blog posts that I wrote recently was how to access all the wizard goodies. And so it teaches you how to get your turnarounds. It teaches about the good morning generator. And then this morning I added to it. So I want to give a quick shout out to SPZ, Sorcerer Ilya of the Fae, and then of course Ozma Bro.
Yeah.
Those two guys made this amazing new tool that you can use in our Discord that will give you a portrait of your wizard on these awesome little frames. It's in the blog post how to do it, but basically you just type in !mugshot and then your wizard number. It's just so freaking awesome. And what I love about it is like I didn't make it, Dotta didn't make it, our cult members made it. And so I expect there's going to be a lot more wizard goodies in the future. So circling back to what Loch-Ness just said, I will also put this little D&D character sheet in that wizard goodie blog post. I was just going to say, I think SPZ also wants to share some lore before we end today. But yeah, go ahead, Dotta.
I was just going to say, it's a good time for wizard shoutouts. We need a bell. I need a bell for wizard shoutouts.
We need Magus Wazir to ring the bell.
Yeah, Magus Wazir, unmute your microphone and get a bell.
Just ring a bell at the very least.
So first off, I want to shout out to Chuck for translating the brand new post that we wrote into Japanese. Thank you so much for that. It's a huge thing. I think also shout out to Magus Wazir with a functioning Kobold game. Wow, I love it.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. we need a 404 page, and it was a little slow for me to load, so maybe we have to refactor it a bit, but I love something like that for the 404 page. We should talk about it. You want to do a couple of shout outs while we're here?
Sure, yeah. Twitter user Beer Van Geer did this awesome, or I think he commissioned a really great piece of artwork for his Wizard Davos. It looks like a Thundercats character to me, which was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid. And then Twitter user at SoloKeep, Sage Solomon of the Keep, did this awesome, basically these psychedelic images of what his wizard would look like if he drank his psychedelic nectar. And then Small Protect did a brilliant Legend of Zelda meme. It's dangerous to go alone, take this. Showing the Dotta wizard giving a flame to another wizard.
Switch on that, by the way. I don't know if people want to stay in on or what, but I heard at least 3 separate stories in our Discord of a wizard giving another wizard their flame, which is incredible, right? And this wasn't even on just, the day where the flames were really cheap. I mean, they never got so cheap, but this is full on just giving another wizard their flame, even when there's a clear secondary market for it. I thought it was a real act of generosity. I mean, I don't want to say who they were, but it was, you just love to see that between the members of our cult.
Yeah, the flames are trading at over 1 ETH, and people are just giving them to other people.
Amazing.
It's beautiful. Yeah,
generosity.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's so great. And then the infamous Magus Tumbaj, which I think is Zela Soul, made an awesome Mickey Mouse Sorcerer Apprentice Wizard Wednesday, or no, a Wagme meme, which was great. And then Hen Boyd has been doing those amazing tavern scenes. which I just love every time, especially because they have Dota, your and my portrait hanging in the tavern. And then TikiTeki.eth did what I thought was a wooden wizard, but it's actually a plastic 3D printed wizard.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that was great. Super. I think it's the first 3D printed wizard I've seen.
Yeah.
And then
Retired Yield Farmer.
Yeah, we did those awesome illustrations of the familiars.
Yeah.
They looked like Neopets to me, which I thought was perfect. And I'm going to use this as a very quick segue to bring in Scientology, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but I think Scientology like bought Neopets and like corrupted it. But then the real segue I want to make is I want to ask Dota a question. Oh, no. And I love asking Dota random questions that I haven't even prepared him for. So, Dota, the Church of Scientology is a tax-exempt organization, and they are extremely rich because of it. Do you think we could make our cult also tax-exempt?
Oh, man.
I mean, if Scientology can do it, why can't we?
Right. Yeah.
Do we have does Dota have one phone call to make, like to the lawyers, to get some answers?
Get like a religious exemption.
Exactly.
I don't know. We might need like some more traditions.
Well, I mean, we certainly have a big cult. It's
yeah.
I mean, it's way cooler than Scientology. So Dota, I think you need to look into that.
There's the church like the Spaghetti Monster can get a religious exemption. I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
We have Wizard Wednesday as our sacred day.
There's so many Easter eggs within the collection too that we could totally like pull some shit off like that.
Yeah. So thanks, Retired Yield Farmer, for giving me an idea of how to make us tax exempt. Cool. Okay. So SPZ, are you in the chat? I'm not sure if I see you.
I have him in the DMs, but I don't know where he is.
We have a weekly meeting.
What's that, Logness?
We have a weekly meeting. SPZ, I've got him in the chat. So let me see. Are you ready to give your lore? Well, maybe we just keep on moving on while we wait.
Yeah. Well, as we wait for SPZ, another blog post that I'm in the process of writing is just a whole blog post talking about the idea of decentralized world building, the collaborative legendarium, as I like to call it. So
he's coming up.
Oh, great! Yeah, just to put a button on that, because I know a lot of like our mods in our Discord, the sages, they've had to like answer this question 1,000 times to newcomers. So I want to be able to have a blog post that you can just share a link to and explain it. But SPZ, are you ready?
Am I? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you sound great.
Oh, fantastic.
Hello.
Okay, great.
Right.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Wow.
Before you get in, I just want to say great work on that portrait bot. Oh, so amazing.
Yes.
Love
the mugshot
really
thing,
fun.
so good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I love a good opportunity to create something that's useful for myself and everybody else. So that was fun.
Thank you so much.
That's great. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I was wondering, do we have time for 2 quick lores?
Maybe we got about 10 minutes. We can go over a little bit if you need to.
Yeah, I just asked because I have 2 wizards or 3 wizards now, but actually the first wizard that I ever found, I wrote lore for before I even got a wizard, like probably 2 months ago.
Great.
And you guys spoke about how great this community is, and I actually tracked down the guy that owns it on the Discord, and he gave it to me.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So I was like, wow, that's Lateralis, by the way. I promised I would not shout him out, but I'm going to do it anyways. No, he's cool with it. So should I just go ahead and start reading that one then, maybe? It's quite quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sorcerer Ilias of the Fray. Of the Fae.
of the Fray.
Fae, I mean.
Right. So I'm going to start with actually, what's his name? Sorcerer Milo from the Abyss.
Great.
So I got this. This is the first wizard that I found, and I just immediately vibed with him. So I just sat down and like wrote. And I'm so happy to have him now that I'm going to put this in the book of lore. But so I like to preface my lore with like a prologue and maybe like a quote from within the same universe, kind of stolen that from some of my favorite authors. So that's where I'm going to start. Milo Prologue. It is a well-known fact, or if nothing else, a widely shared belief, that the eyes are the windows to the soul. Since the dawn of time, man has thus weighed, judged, and thereby taken measure of character, based on the briefest of glances or deepest of stares. A good man, they would say, has eyes from which projects an earnest depth of empathy and decency, while a man of questionable intentions, even one whose soul could be said to be draped in the shroud of evil, should undoubtedly be betrayed by the twin fires subtly shining from the depths of their dark eyes. Further, there are those who would insist the most painless way to divine the cast from which a soul was forged, whether one of purity and light or of corruption and darkness, lies simply in observing the face as a whole, the eyes, to be sure, but also the lines worn from smiles of plenty or frowns from anguish and anger, the twist of crow's feet from a lifetime of laughs, or the firm, downcast lines of lips more attuned to discontent. Void disciple voidoth, quote. Okay, so that's the intro. Milo's eyes had always been kind. His cheeks, an intricate map of lines well earned from countless smiles and smirks, the corners of his gentle eyes webbed and wrinkled. Most who had cast their glance on his amicable, grandfatherly face would agree that these are the eyes of a kind man. This is the face of honesty and empathy. Of course, most who had the misfortune of locking eyes with Milo were now dead. Fluttering in and out of the dark corners of the shadowed room, Fluffy was busy inspecting and seeking out the occasional ill-fated insect or small rodent. The small purple bat would make certain that there would be no unexpected visitors this night, at least none left alive. He sensed her like a constant comfort in the back of his head, nestled against his subconscious. Imagining his familiar's joy should anyone disturb them here, Milo allowed himself a fond chuckle and turned back to the center of the cold room, once again scrutinizing the altar. He was ordinary enough, more reminiscent of a stone slab than something arcane, aside perhaps from the small rivulets carved out of the surface and the worn symbols barely noticeable running along its sides. However, the naked body strapped down and stretched taut against the frigid stone was anything but ordinary. As he slowly approached, his kindly eyes running up and down the large figure, he absent-mindedly channeled the rune of Mars, the crimson shape flaring to life, immediately casting the room in a hellish light. With his favorite death spell now an incantation away, Sorcerer Milo from the abyss slowly strode towards the altar, still smiling to himself. End.
Amazing.
Awesome.
That was great. Yeah.
All right, cool. So that was Milo. That was the first one that I wrote. So I'm just going to jump quickly ahead to Sorcerer Elias of the Fae. And I'd like to bring my stories together for my wizards, and I would encourage anybody who wants to join in or do the same to reach out. I'm looking at the chat. Sorry, Lateralis. All right, Sorcerer Elias of the Fae. Again, I'm going to start with this sort of introduction type thing, right? So, prologue. Having had the great misfortune of spending what surely must be an eternity in the company of the Jinn, my return to the mundane world with all its trappings, the hubbub and hustle of material needs and wants, seems tinged by frivolity and introspection. And while this somewhat superficial state of existence can in many ways feel rote and predictable, there still exists an intangible element of entropy, of the unexpected, of a certain excitement of the unknown. Thus, I have come to believe it surely must be a curse to pass each day as though reading from a tome well known, every passing moment spent expecting the next, knowing the shape it will take, the form it shall follow, the sensation it will stir, and yet forced to be sure that yes, indeed, things have come to pass as expected. Ad infinitum, perhaps ad nauseam. Musings on clairvoyance, origin unknown. The forest was silent, too silent. High above, the waxing moon, safe in its eternal vigil perched among the stars, shone down through the occasional break in the verdant canopy. No predator, eyes aglow and belly empty, was on the hunt, no prey scurrying from cover to cover. The softly illuminating clouds of fluorescent insects were nowhere to be seen, nor the chiroptera, normally unable to withstand such a glorious feast upon which to gorge themselves. To senses mundane, the world was indeed empty of life, abandoned, barren. Elias was shackled by no such restraints, his eyes and ears telling a different tale. No, the Fae were not gone, nor had they ever been. He could feel their ethereal presence. They were, however, perhaps for the first time in an age, experiencing something novel. The Fae were afraid. He had known, of course, that this day would eventually come. As time passed, however, the cosmos continues its heavenly dance. Mountains rose proud to ultimately succumb to inevitable erosion. Oceans greedily consumed, ever moving outwards listlessly. Entire peoples, along with their gods, came and went. Ancient endings, new beginnings, as it always had been. Indulgence, Elias mused wryly, was a distraction he had enjoyed for far too long, and one he could no longer afford. Shaking loose his splendid and colorful cloak and letting it play lazily in the sudden breeze, he raised his arms high, as if in supplication to the heavens. As his crystal ball manifested in his outstretched hand, covered in a fine mist, he drew deep on his quintessential affinity for magic. Out from the tall trunks, dark wings flapping silently, twin eyes glowing like embers, his eternal familiar approached lazily. "The time has come, my friend," he exclaimed. "And no dallying now, you old rat. The fate of the Fae, nay, the fate of the world, depends on us."
I love it, man. I love how your wizard is like using his magical item and his familiar, and I love how he calls his familiar "you old rat."
It's a very elegant writing style, man. God,
Totally.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, very sophisticated writing style. Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Sorry if it was a bit stumbling. It's nearly midnight here in the cold Scandinavian north.
Oh wow! So you
Love
really
it.
are out in the Fae.
Yep.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you, Sorcerer Ilias. That was great.
Thank you.
Very cool. Okay, so we have like maybe 2 minutes left. Do we have any other questions, comments? Comments on Sorcerer Ilias' lore?
No, I have some comments on the Coinbase thing. Last thing, my girlfriend is starting to get it. When I sold Peso, dude, she lost her shit. So I think it's starting to get through. So man, that made me bullish. So yeah.
Wait, was she upset you sold him or happy?
Yeah, she was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, she was mad. I told her.
I love her. I love
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, well, I mean, Peso was a great wizard. He was in a lot of good memes. I'll miss him too. I don't know who has him now.
Well, I wanted to get a tablet to start doing like digital art to take on for like world building and whatnot. We're trying to put
Gotcha.
together a server to like anybody in the community that wanted to like pitch in on it once you got the blog post.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay, right on. Right on. Well,
We also
Peso
did a
will be
blog
missed.
post. We also did a blog post on our principles. So I think these things are really like almost cliches to everyone who's been around for a while. But hopefully we can kind of codify them, write them down, pick out these ideas that kind of define our community. And if you guys have ideas for principles that should be on there that aren't, we can talk about it and add them. But yeah, the 4 principles I have there are: wizards are for everyone, like wizard by wizard, lore not floor, and hours over official. And so, I'm happy to talk about those things, but I think we're a bit out of time today.
Yeah,
maybe
Dotta,
next
that
week we
deserves
can
a full Wizard Wednesday. So let's not throw it in at the last minute. But yeah, it's definitely a great post.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think, if there are any that you guys feel that I'm missing, let's talk about them in Discord, because I'm sure that this is just the beginning of these kinds of ideas.
Great. Okay, everybody. Well, if that's all the questions and comments, this has been Elf
and Dotta
and Bear Snake and Loch Ness and O and Magus Devin and Sorcerer
Devin,
Ilias and everybody in the cult.
Except Magus Wazier.
Vitalik, don't blow his cover.
Yeah, totally. The one who rings is Vitalik Buterin. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Channeling out from the Quantum Downs.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.